Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where I'm gonna get ready for the day, and I'm also gonna chat about some of the things that I have discovered while living in the US now for 6 months that I think are a little bit different, or for me unusual, compared to living in Sweden. We moved here, I want to say New Year's, so we've been here for 6 months. I'm just gonna catch up. This is lighthearted. This is like a little bit lighthearted. I'm just poking fun at some stuff. Don't take this as gospel. This is just me sharing my experiences. And if you want to see some more makeup content on timeline, do not forget to subscribe because I upload 7 videos a week, all about beauty, all about makeup. So don't forget to subscribe. So I am just gonna get in. I got one of these as a sample when I ordered from Sephora. I don't use these kind of samples, but this was a primer sample, and I have been a little bit more into primers lately. This is the Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Primer, and I thought, why don't I try this one? Because like I said, I never really have been into primers before. Is that too much? But I have been a little bit more into primers lately, and I thought, oh my god, is this too much? We'll see. And I just wanted to try this one out and see how it is, because I am going to be wearing a foundation that I'm very familiar with. It felt just a little bit like a lotion. I'm gonna let this like just sit for like a minute or two before we go in with some makeup, but I'm gonna zoom in while I wait for it. Okay, so I will say that it feels very smoothing now on the skin, not like sticky or tacky or anything like that. So kind of decent, and I feel like it's been hydrated, so yeah, that feels pretty nice, like a smoothing hydrating primer. Not bad. So we have been living now here for 6 months. We moved to the US from Sweden around New Year's because my husband has gotten a postdoc position here, and if you know anything about academia, you know that sometimes you don't have that many choices. You go where this research takes you, like where the positions take you, and he was able to have a postdoc with a really good team here in Austin, and we did it for his career basically. I have been really excited about being here as well because of the weather and because that I'm closer to my friends, but there's a lot of things that I of course miss with Sweden, like food and snacks and my friends and my family. With that being said, I'm gonna talk about a couple of things that I've noticed that are different in the US versus Sweden. Not necessarily worse, not necessarily better, just different. And I want to talk about one of the first things that we noticed when we moved here, which is the grocery store. I mean, this comes as like no surprise that like when you go into the grocery store from a different country, there are different things. Everything is of course curated to fit the population where the store is at, like their taste and their cuisine and like the preferences and like how they eat. For example, in a store in the US, there is a lot of options for breakfast that is like a cooked meal, which is not very common in Sweden. Most breakfasts in Sweden is a cold breakfast or maybe a boiled egg, but usually like it's never a meal. it's like people do not like cook like that for breakfast. It's not super common. Maybe a little porridge or something, but like making a meal for breakfast, that's not the Swedish way. So of course there are other options, but at the end of the day, a lot of the grocery stores, I mean, they have the same sections. There is a section of greens and vegetables, there's a section of bread and cookies, there's usually some kind of dairy section, and section with snacks and stuff. One of the biggest difference in a US grocery store compared to a Swedish grocery store is just how big the different sections are compared to each other. For example, in the US, in the store where we are at, which is a fairly big store, and the store that we used to go to in Sweden was also a fairly big store, like a big supermarket kind of a store. So the sections, or like the size of the sections, are just different. For example, in the store in the US here, the green section is pretty big. Like there's a bunch of things to choose from, but still the vegetables and the fruit section in our Swedish store was still double the size. So for us, it's still a very small section compared to what we are used to. We're used to having a lot more fruits and vegetables available, and I don't know if that is something to do with Swedes maybe buying more fresh fruits and vegetables. And also in the US, a large part of what's offered is stuff that's already cut up, like stuff that are in plastic packagings, or even something as stupid, this is me thinking this is stupid, a peeled orange in a plastic container. It's like, it's not that hard to peel an orange. All that unnecessary plastic just to be able to have it pre-peeled, for me that just seems very lazy and very just unusual. I will say unusual. I will also say that our bread section is usually a lot bigger than what I've seen here. Not only store-made bread, but also like bread that's been made otherwise and like shipped to the stores. And I've also noticed in the US that they will have a bakery section, which is the stuff that it's made in store, like cakes and pastries and bread and stuff that's been baked in stores, and then they will have a different section throughout the store that is like not store-made bread. And in Sweden you would find that together. Of course they will be separated, like there will be a difference between stuff that is like baked in store and stuff that is baked somewhere else and then shipped to the store, but they will still be in the same position. They're just, in the US, at least in the stores that I've been to, I haven't been to all of course, the bakery is on one side, the pre-baked bread is somewhere else, and then the cookies in a totally different position. And in Sweden all of those would be in the same section. I'm gonna use this one today again, but I'm gonna use it the way that people were telling me is better, and which is like doing it on the brush, because this is just so very emollient. So I'm gonna try this out and maybe work it in with a sponge. I just think it's very, 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 very pigmented, and if you like that, a super pigmented cream bronzer, I think you would love this one, because it is pretty easy to work with, but it's just very, very pigmented, although now it turned in to be a little patchy here, but I'll make it work. It's probably me. I'm just trying to find the best way to work with this product. I will also say that compared to what I'm used to, the section with frozen products in the US is usually already made, like made meals or ice cream. That's usually what you will find in the frozen section. But in Sweden you will find a lot of the ingredients in the freezer, because of course we have a different climate, so we are used to not having a growing, like a period throughout the entire year. You can't like grow vegetables throughout the year in Sweden. So of course there's a little bit different at like how we need to store stuff. So a lot of things in Sweden are stored in freezers to keep them fresh throughout the year, because harvest is only once a year in Sweden and we're just trying to keep things fresh. And I will say for a lot of things it makes sense to have them frozen, because they're just as good frozen as they are non-frozen, like chopped up herbs, for example. I do wish that the US would offer chopped up herbs in the freezer as well, because it's just so convenient to have in the freezer. And I will say not a lot of things with the flavor is changed with freezing them. Something that we noticed quite quickly when we moved to the US is that a lot of stuff in US grocery store are in between meal snacks. Like there is so much cereal, granola bars, little snack packs, like hot pockets, or like other kind of like treats that are either salty or sweet, that is not meant to be a meal or part of a meal. It's just something in between meals. And the selection of in between snacks are just not as big in Sweden. It is just not really part of our culture in the same way that it's part of the American culture. And if you're the kind of person, which I definitely was, and I still am, I think, if you're the kind of person that looks at those like pantry tours in the US and you think, so where's the food? There's just a lot of snacks. As an outsider, I will say, I feel the grocery stores are kind of the same. There's just so much snacks and in between meal things that sometimes you're like, so where's the food? And I mean, it's there, of course, it's just that I'm used to something else. And I'm not saying that this is bad or worse, or that we're doing it better and like the Americans are doing it worse. It's just a matter of perspective, like where you come from and what you're used to. And this is just like what I'm used to. I will also say that the candy section in Sweden is, I mean, Swedes love candy. We eat the most candy per capita in the world. I'm not even exaggerating, that it's an actual statistic. Like, we love candy and I love candy. And the candy section in the US is so small compared to the candy section in Sweden. If you've seen any of my vlogs shopping in Sweden, you will have seen this. So that is a little bit unusual because I'm like, where's my option? Where's the options? Where's the options? There are a lot of salty snacks here in the US to choose from though. I just miss all the sweet candy options. I used some of that Fenty bronzer on my like chest and shoulders as well. I think it looks beautiful. I'm gonna use some of this Lethal blush. I'm still using these to review. These are the marble ones. I will put exactly the name of this one down below because I don't remember exactly the name, but this is the darker mauve one. Another thing that I've noticed in the US, and this isn't necessarily like in anyone's fault except like the American system, and that is that a lot of people in the US are not very good at driving cars. And I know that saying that some people are probably gonna be like, oh, but I'm a good driver, and I bet you are. I bet you are. Of course, this isn't everyone, and I think this is like a problem with the system of like how people get a license, because it is so easy to get a license in the US. And basically all of the courses, because Ricardo got a license, like we had to get new licenses moving here, and I still haven't gotten, I have my driver's permit, but I haven't gotten my official license. Not that I need a driver's permit, but it's like if I ever need to drive the car, I can drive if someone with a license is next to me, because we only have one vehicle. And there's really no need for me to ever drive right now. So when Ricardo gets his second vehicle, which is going to be, I think he's getting his motorcycle in September. I think it's September, I might be wrong. So I will get my official driver's license then. There's no point in going through all of that now. Because like I said, where am I going? There's no car at home right now. There's no vehicle here. I can't really go anywhere. So we will fix that once, because he is waiting for the one that he bought to be produced. He just put a down payment down. I just wanted to put a couple. But there are so many people that are very unstable drivers. Like they will turn without looking. If you've been on my Twitter, you know that there is a girl, a woman. I don't want to age her, but I think she was like 18, 19, 20, and she backed into our car when we were standing still. So we were standing still and she started backing and kept backing all until she, like 3 meters down, hit us. Which means that she started backing without looking over her shoulder or in any of the mirrors even once. I mean, now it was our car and she has taken full responsibility, so she is paying for our repairs, and I'm very grateful for that, because your insurance system is a little bit different as it is in Sweden as well. So we're a little bit unused to that. But it's like, that could have been a kid. That could have been a dog. That could have been something like valuable, like not like just a car, because like you can fix a car, but like the fact that she didn't look is scary, because she didn't see us at all until she backed into us. That is scary. So I will say, getting a driver's license in the US, I think it's too easy. I think it is not testing enough if people are actually good drivers. And I see so many people driving like this all over the highway. Hi, sweetie. My dog just lay down here. And we drive past them and they're texting. Like, why? Stop it. So many people are not paying attention while driving, and it's scary, because like, that's not just their life they're putting in jeopardy, it's mine as well. And it is scary. It is scary, and that's something that I've noticed, that there are so many more kind of scary situations in the traffic here. I've never been in an accident, and never been even close to being in an accident. And here in the US, like just the other day, we were going to buy something. Oh, we were going to buy dog food, and a woman was texting and the traffic was stopping and she didn't see it, so she had to hit the brakes so hard that she drove off the road behind us. Not so that she couldn't get back, but it's like, lady, if you are not paying attention to traffic to the point where you're almost driving off the road, maybe you're not as good as a driver as you think you are. Just put the phone down. Put the phone down. I'm happy she didn't hit us as well. We were laughing about it. We were like, wow, really? Are we getting hit twice in a month? That's a record nobody wants to break. I'm actually going to be using this one again. This is the House Labs Le Monster. Le Monster lip crayon. I have mine in Peach Matte. I think this is really beautiful. I'm actually going to be using the ColourPop So Glassy. I bought another shade of these. I didn't like the one with glitter, but Samantha Marsh said that she liked the ones without glitter from the new collection more than the old ones. I'm gonna give it a try. I bought mine in Solana, which is, I think, the lightest one. These don't really smell like anything. I think you're right. These are not as sticky as the first ones, because I felt like the one that I had before was extremely sticky, and this one is not. Did they change something, or did I get a bad one? Was I drunk trying the other one? Nobody knows. I am gonna be combining these two palettes today. This is my palette with Unsai, this is the Hella palette, and this is the In the Springs palette by ColourPop, and I want to use that matte pastel-y minty turquoise again. So I am going to be starting with, I think I'm going to start with Underworld, because I want to do a mix of warm and cool. That is my plan for today. So I am starting with Underworld, and I'm going to make a really warm green crease. I'm basically going to just pack this on, because I want this to be really like visible. I want this to be the it color. And then I'm gonna put the turquoise. But another thing that I've noticed in the US is that a lot of people are super chatty, and this is something that I've noticed before, but I just wanted to like say that that is one of the things that I really like about the US, because it's really making me realize how Swedes are really keeping to themselves. And sometimes it's nice. Like, I'm the kind of person that when someone asks me, are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? I always say, you know what, I think I'm both, because I get so much energy from being alone and I get so much energy from being with people. But when I'm being alone for too long, I get over a hill and then it starts draining energy. And it's the same with people. I get energy, and then if I'm with people too long, maybe if I'm going on vacation with like a group of friends or something, it comes to a hill when it like, I just want to be alone for a bit. So I feel like I'm both. And as a Swede, I have really noticed coming here to the US that everyone will chat to you. Strangers, neighbors, like neighbors in Sweden, they do not talk to each other. They do not. And that's not necessarily a good thing either. Sometimes it's nice to know your neighbors. Sometimes it's nice to just be able to chat to people, and to like, when you see your neighbor here in the driveway, you stay with them for a little bit and you chat about life, and it's nice. It's nice to know people. It's nice to be friendly with people, and that's just not the way it is in Sweden. But on the other hand, as a Swede who's used to being left alone, sometimes when you're walking the dog, all you want to do is walk the dog. You don't want to talk to anyone. You don't want to stop and like chat about life. You just want to walk the dog. And that is something that I've noticed, that like people will talk to you anywhere. In Sweden, if two people are waiting by the bus stop for a bus, they're not talking to each other. That's not a thing. They are not talking to each other. It's not happening. But here, if you are just two people waiting on like something outside a store, waiting for a bus, just standing around, that person will start talking to you. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes you're like, oh, my semi-introverted Swedish ass just wants to be left alone. But I do think that that's me being raised as a Swede and Swedish, and I honestly think that the American way of being more chatty and open towards strangers is better. It is better, and I do prefer it. I just haven't fully got it like adapted or like assimilated into the mindset of you can talk to anyone at any point. I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. I'm gonna do a little bit of Ouroboros here and just blendity. Also, when you're doing something with customer service here, first of all, customer service in the US, so much better than customer service in Sweden. I swear to God, they need to go to a course here in the US, because in Sweden, customer service is always someone telling you why it's actually your fault. You did something wrong that you need to fix. That's always customer service in Sweden. Should I use a bigger brush? Because I want this to be, maybe, hold. And since this is such a dark color and such a light color, it's gonna take a little bit effort to blend them into each other, but I'm not worried. But yeah, customer service in Sweden, sometimes it's just someone telling you this is your fault, you did something wrong, this is your problem, we're not gonna help you. That's sometimes what customer service is. It's never them doing you a service, it's always them telling you that you have to fix it yourself. And it's just so annoying, because when you come here to the US and you realize how they help you here and how there's no questions asked, because like, why would I call them if I didn't have a problem? Sometimes customer service in Sweden, I swear they're not even trained to deal with issues. They're just, I don't know. It's madness, I tell you. It's really frustrating sometimes. But on the other hand, getting help with something here, like if you go to the bank to do something, or if you, like me and Ricardo, we went to a store to get new phones when we moved here. To get new phones and to get new phone numbers, that took us 3 or 4 hours. Like, we were there after the store closed. Me buying a new phone in Sweden, 20 minutes. What is taking so long? What is taking so long? Going to the bank to fix that, we went twice, 2 hours each. What's the hold up? What's taking so long? Why is this taking so much time? It literally makes absolutely no sense. And as a Swede used to those kind of things taking 20 minutes, if even that, I'm a little bit surprised, because it's like, isn't it frustrating to have a job where it takes you hours to help a customer? Like, I get like heart palpitation just thinking of it. Like, that seems exhausting. So sometimes just getting help in a store or just buying something, even like at like a store, if you're going to like H&M in Sweden and you're standing in line, when it's your turn, maximum of 3 minutes and you're out of there. In the US, sometimes you'll be there for 15 minutes and you're like, I just want to pay and leave. And I cannot for the life of me understand what is taking so long. What's the hold up? Like, do people not want to just get people on their way? That is a thing that I think there is a difference between like the things that we have to do when we see a customer, because I do not understand why it's taking so long. Like, can you fill me in? Like, why does it take so long? Let me see if I can put some under my eyes as well, because like I said, I want this to be a really nice green look. I feel like I've worn this top so many times on my channel, but it's so comfortable. So comfortable. So if you're thinking like, Angie, do you not own any other clothes? Let me tell you, I do. They're just not as comfortable as this one. I'm gonna blend it out with that lighter one as well to, like I said, really make that the star of the show. Okay, so what I'm gonna use from this palette is this one that's called Soaked. It's this cool toned, icy, pastel-y, minty turquoise. And the reason why I want to use that one is because it's gonna like, first of all, it's very opaque. I really liked working with it. When I did a video on this palette, there is a video up. And also, I want to contrast the cool. Look at that. Oh, I love a contrast between a cool tone and a warm tone without stuff being icy. Oh, that is so nice. I am loving that. Oh, loving that. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna mention that is like different here from Sweden is probably the second thing that we realized when we moved here, and that is that all packages are home delivery, which is absolutely not how it is in Sweden. In Sweden, most packages that you get, you have to go to your local post office, which is a lot more readily available than it is here in the US, because I have noticed that when I need to go to the post office, like when I'm shipping out giveaway prizes or stuff like that, it is a little bit of a hassle. The opening hours are crap. They usually close at either 4 or 5 where we live. And in Sweden, the postal places are usually put inside grocery stores, so that they are open as long as the grocery store is open, which is usually until 10 o'clock at night, which is great for like accessibility if you're the kind of person that works and you need to go to the postal office to pick up packages or send something out after you stop working. Because here, like, they're closed on the weekend, which they're not in Sweden, and they also close early. So it's a little bit of that, like, when are you supposed to go there? So that has been a little bit hard, especially for us that only has one vehicle, and Ricardo brings the vehicle to work every day. So yeah, we've been trying to get around that, and I've been trying to talk to, like, when people have been winning giveaways, for example, I feel like I've told everyone, like, I'm so sorry that this took a couple of extra days, but the infrastructure around this has been weird. But on the other hand, you never have to go and pick up your packages. This is only for you when you are sending out stuff yourself, because everything is shipped to your door. And this is very convenient, especially if you're like me and get a lot of packages, because I do get a lot of packages. Not only stuff that I buy myself, but of course I also get some PR and stuff, and everything gets delivered to my home. Do I want to put a little more here? I feel like I maybe want to put a little bit more here and lift this part a little bit. But it also feels a little unsecure, because like they're just leaving your packages for anyone to steal, which is, you really do have to trust thy neighbor, because they're just leaving it in the open for anyone to steal. And in Sweden, of course, when you pick up your packages, they are secure until you pick them up, and then you're the one you know, like picking them up, and you have to show your ID, for example. Like they can't give it, I'm gonna use the House Labs pen, they can't give it to just anyone. They have to give it to the person that has their name on the package. So it's a little bit more secure. Like your package is never like, well, I shouldn't say never, but it's extremely rare that something is stolen. And when it is, it's usually someone working at the postal office that stole it. I kind of want to use a little shimmer. I know I'm a matte eyeshadow gal, but I kind of want to use some shimmer. I think I'm going to use a little bit of River just on the edge, because this is like a plum to a turquoisey teal, and I feel like that would work so good here. And I kind of want to have something next to it, maybe like a minty duochrome or something. I love River, is just so stunning, such a pretty shade. But I kind of want to have like it going into like more of a minty duochrome. Oh my god, this was perfect. I'm so happy I did this. Okay, let me get a minty duochrome and we can finish this look up. I think this is going to be perfect. This is the highlighter from In the Dark collection by Unearthly Cosmetics. It is called Flicker. I'm not 100% sure if this is still available, but it's just a mint duochrome, and that is what I wanted to just get a little bit on the edge here. I'm just trying to make this blend in even better, and I think that looks honestly really stunning. I'm still gonna leave it to be matte in the inner corner. I'm not gonna worry about that at all. Where is the brush that I used, the one with the light green? Hello, here it is. So I can just, there we go. I feel like that looks incredible, and if you're wondering how this shade looks, it is just like a minty duochrome like that. That is what it's looking like. I am gonna put on, taken one of them out, the Ardell Lash Contour. I have them here, little spidery spiders. So I'm gonna put that on, but this is the look with just mascara. I love it. This is exactly what I envisioned, and I'm so happy I added this like minty thing, because it really did enhance the contrast between the warm green and the cool mint. Big fan. 10 out of 10 recommend. 10 out of 10 recommend. And if you have my palette, definitely pair it with a light mint. This looks so nice. So let me put on some lashes and I don't know, end this video. I swear my toxic trait is saying that I'll be right back and actually believing it myself. So this is an hour later. I got preoccupied with other stuff. Stuff happens, but it also reminded me about something that happened, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? We had like a thunderstorm here in Austin. There was a lot of rain, and I got a home delivery of packages, and he just left it out in the rain. And it's like, sir, sir, I'm gonna need you to put that like undercover. So all of my packages were soaking, the things inside were still fine, but it's like, that is there are perks, there are benefits of getting everything home delivered. Like when you're getting furniture, for example, it's only always like home delivered. It's really nice, but sometimes it's inconvenient things as well, because like all my packages were soaked. It was fine though, but some things are just a little bit different, and I think like in the future I will know like, oh wait, it's raining outside, I need to make sure that I'm not missing any packages outside, because for me as a Swede, I never had to think about that in Sweden. Like nothing's gonna get soaked in the rain, but it's all different, and that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes things aren't necessarily bad because they're different, sometimes they're just different, and it's something that you need to get used to. Although I will say, it wouldn't hurt Americans to have a little bit more knowledge on like driving before they get their license, because I'm not surprised to see so many cars with scratches and bumps, because it is rough out there. It is rough out there. Yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think about the look. I will say, I love this look. I feel amazing in this look. I'm so happy I'm gonna be wearing this throughout the day. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you again probably tomorrow for a new video. Bye!